My last wish is to spend the last night of my life with a virgin girl who is willing to be with me. Announce it in both the mosque and the temple. Is there any girl who would be willing to spend a night with me? When these words came out of the mouth of a death row prisoner, the entire police station fell silent. All the officers looked at each other. But this was just a prelude. What happened next was something never before seen in prison history. Did anyone really fulfill this prisoner's wish? If not, then what did he do that left everyone stunned? This is a true story that will leave you breathless. My name is Sanjana Varma. I am a senior lady inspector. My life has been spent within the walls of courts, police stations, and prisons. I have seen countless criminals. Some cruel, some seemingly innocent. But prisoner number 97 was something else. There was a unique depth in his eyes. It was as if he were cut off from the world. He neither laughed nor spoke. As if he had given up words. I could neither call him completely innocent nor guilty. Then one day, I received orders that prisoner number 97 would be hanged in 2 days. And I needed to know his last wish. I was thinking he might wish to meet someone close to him or ask for something special to eat. But when I gently asked, "Rehan, do you have a last wish?" he looked at me with complete seriousness and said, "I wish to spend my last night with a virgin girl." I was astonished. Such an unusual thing. Then this wish was presented to the ASP. Legally, every prisoner's last wish is heard. So, the ASP had an announcement made in both the mosque and the temple. A young prisoner who would be hanged in 2 days, wishes to spend the night with a girl as his last wish. If anyone is willing, please come forward. This announcement reverberated through the area. But hours passed. No one came. Then the prisoner made a startling move. He gently pointed to a female police officer and said, "If no one is coming from outside, then I want to spend my last night with her." At that, the entire staff gathered. I took Rehan to the SP's office. The SP looked at him carefully and asked gently, "Son, what is your last wish?" I was surprised. The SP usually didn't speak so gently to prisoners. But perhaps he knew that Rehan's case was unusual. Here, young men who commit minor crimes often serve long sentences, while major criminals roam freely. Rehan took a deep breath and said, "My last wish is to spend the last night of my life with a virgin." Hearing this, time seemed to stand still in the room. Everyone looked at each other. No one could believe that a prisoner could have such a strange wish. The superintendent of police, SP, sat in silence for a few moments. Then he said seriously, "Son, accept it, it's impossible. Which girl would agree to such a condition if she knew you would be hanged the next morning? You're not very old, you have no money or any influence. You come from a poor family. And in such circumstances, why would any girl fulfill your wish? Don't waste your last chance." Then he said, "Please tell me any other wish like food and drink or meeting someone close to you. We'll do our best to provide you with that. But this wish is not possible." But Rehan replied calmly, "Sir, I've already told you this is my last wish and don't worry. I'll tell you a way to fulfill it automatically." With that he fell silent. The superintendent of police looked at him with surprise, as if he suspected he might point it out to some female prison official. But Rehan said, "Just make an announcement. If a girl came willingly to both the mosque and the temple, that would be enough. The rest was left to fate." We were all surprised. But as per the rules, we had to take action to fulfill the prisoner's last wish. So, an announcement was made at both religious places. Prisoner number 917, who is to be executed in 2 days, wishes to spend a night with a virgin girl as his last wish. If any girl willingly agreed, she could come to the prison. This announcement spread throughout the area. But we were convinced that no one would come forward on such a condition. But an hour later, a policeman suddenly came running and panting announced, "Sir, there is a girl standing at the prison gate dressed as a bride. A cleric is also with her." Hearing this, the superintendent of police and I quickly headed towards the gate. A young girl was standing in front of us. Barely 17 or 18 years old, she was dressed like a bride, decked out from head to toe. A religious scholar was also present with her. holding the NICA register. We were all stunned. Who was this girl? And had she really come here on this strange condition? SP Sahib asked seriously. Malvi Sahib, who are you and who is this girl? Malvi Sahib took a deep breath and said, This girl came to me this morning and said that I must accompany her to jail immediately. When I asked why, she said that the man who was going to be hanged in 2 days was her lover. She is his lover, and she wishes to spend her last night with him of her own free will. The entire audience fell silent. The cleric continued. I tried to convince her. Daughter, don't ruin your life, but she remained adamant. She insisted that this was her last wish, and she wanted to fulfill it at any cost. We were all stunned. Could someone really love Rihan so much that they would abandon their honor, relationships, and society and come to the prison gates? Anyway, with the permission of the higher authorities, the girl was called in, and Rihan was taken out of his cell and brought into the room. They both looked at each other and remained silent for a few moments. Then Rihan smiled and said, Now is the time to fulfill your promise. Please send her to my cell. Just one night, and then whatever is to happen will happen in the morning. I don't know why, but at that moment, tears welled up in my eyes. Perhaps true love really is like this. Fearless and selfless. SP Sahib looked at me silently. He nodded and said, Leave her in the cell. Close the door. Obeyed. I left the girl inside, closed the door, and returned to my office. A thought lingered in my heart, hoping she would panic and come out in a moment. But time passed, and faint whispers began to come from the cell. It sounded as if someone was trying to open something. For a moment I was suspicious, but I was convinced. The door was locked tightly. I went back to my room, but my heart was growing in anguish. Then a heart-rending scream echoed from within the prison. Quickly ran to the cell. I looked inside and there stood the same girl, her veil down, her breathing erratic. I asked anxiously, What happened? She said in a trembling voice, Get me out of here. I don't want to stay here anymore. I was surprised. You came here on your own accord. What happened now? She said nothing. Only the fists of clothing remained, as if something terrifying had shaken them. I opened the door, and the girl came out at lightning speed. She left without a word. I closed the door again, locked it, and returned to my office. My mind was heavy, but sleep overcame my eyes. When morning came, Thais entered with quick steps and angrily asked, Where is prisoner number 97? I said in surprise. Sir, he must be in his cell, he said sternly. Go and see for yourself. My heart began to pound. I immediately rushed over and called out, Rihan, come closer to the door. But there was no response. With a sweaty forehead and trembling hands, I peeked through the window. A man in male attire was lying with his face facing the wall. Open the door. He turned around, and the ground slipped from under my feet. It wasn't Rihan, but the same girl who had come dressed as a bride last night. At that very moment the SP arrived. The moment he saw the scene, his face turned pale. He screamed in anger. What is this spectacle? Where is Rihan? I couldn't even speak. My tongue went dry. The SP's temper was high. This is all your negligence. If you don't know how to handle your duty, what are you doing here? A death row convict has escaped from prison. My mind went numb. My eyes fell on the unconscious girl lying in Rihan's place. It was all a perfect conspiracy. Rihan had betrayed us. He had left jail dressed as a bride, leaving us all as mere spectators. The girl I had mistaken for his lover was part of this plan. Now the question was what to do with her. The girl sat before us calmly, as if nothing had happened. There was no shame in her eyes, no fear on her face. She said softly, You have done injustice to Rihan. He did not deserve the death penalty. I said angrily, Time will tell. She looked me in the eye and said, Only time will reveal the truth. Rihan is innocent. I glared at her, but she didn't budge. The superintendent of police ordered sternly, Issue a citywide alert immediately. Find Rihan. If he isn't found within 2 days, what will we answer to the higher authorities? My heart was pounding. I began to question myself. How could I have been so deceived? I trusted a man. I believed in a girl's truth. And now they've eluded us. There was only one way to find the girl's parents and find out the truth. But then I decided, why not ask the girl herself? I said seriously, I have 2 questions to ask you, and I hope you'll answer them truthfully. She replied without hesitation, ask me, I'll tell you everything truthfully. I looked at her in surprise. She was still calling Rihan brother, not husband. I asked sternly, is he really your brother, or was it just an act? She fell silent, as if something inside her was breaking. Then softly she said, no, he's not my real brother. I asked even more sternly, then why did you do all this? Why did you marry Rihan? And why are you suddenly calling him brother now? You both deceived us, but remember, we'll find him soon. She remained calm. Do what you think, but he hasn't run away. He'll come back. He knows where he wants to go and where he doesn't. And most importantly, he's my husband now. I'm his responsibility. He'll never leave me. Her confident words startled me. I asked surprised, why are you so sure he'll come back? She took a deep breath and said, if you listen to my whole story, maybe your perspective will change. I fell silent. I knew this girl was still true to her word. Maybe if I listen, the truth will come out. She began. My name is Nazia. My elder sister was engaged to Rihan. I was listening. His voice was soft but deep. Rihan had been brave and fearless since childhood. He was the son of my father's uncle. Our family had complete trust in him. When our sister's engagement was finalized, he started visiting. Nazia spoke quietly, and I listened with bated breath. One night everything changed. Tears were welling up in Nazia's eyes, and her voice was breaking. We were just 2 sisters in the room when suddenly, there was a loud knock on the door. Panic. I thought maybe it was my father. But when I looked out the window, the sight sent shivers down my spine. 3 or 4 unkempt faces were standing outside. It was clear from their appearance that they were not ordinary people but malicious goons. I trembled, but reassured myself that Rihan Bai was inside. A heavy voice came from behind the door. Open the door or we'll break it down, I pleaded. We are 2 sisters. We are alone. Go away. But one of them said, laughing, we know a boy has come in. Don't fool us. Hearing the noise, Rihan Bai came forward. He signaled me to go inside. I immediately hid in the room but listened carefully. One of the foul-mouthed men said something nasty, which made Rihan furious, but he controlled himself. He was alone and they were 4. They ended the conversation. But that was just the beginning. In the days to come, it became a daily spectacle. As soon as Abba left the house, those goons would linger around the door. Then one night something happened that changed everything. Our elder sister was sleeping in her room when she heard the sound of breaking a window. Someone was trying to get in. Rihan Bai had arrived just then. He saw one of the goons burst through the window with his own eyes. A storm of pride swept through her. Rihan fought back, and the unthinkable happened. My sister was killed in that fight. Rihan committed a crime punishable by death. But the real culprit remains free. Nazia's voice trembled. Rihan hadn't committed any crime. He had saved our honor. If we had been powerful, if we had belonged to a family with influence and power, perhaps we would have received justice. Then she said something that shook us to the core. Rihan's mother had told me that if sacrificing a daughter could save her son, I would make that sacrifice. I couldn't refuse. I listened as if my body had become numb. Every step of this plan was planned. Nazia said, Rihan went to a prominent lawyer in the city. The same lawyer whose life he had once saved. With Rihan's help, that lawyer went to court. He fought the case and finally the truth came out. Rihan was proven innocent. The court delivered its verdict. Rihan was acquitted. It was a miracle. Love, truth, and sacrifice had triumphed. I sat silently. I had no courage left to say anything. Rehan's mother's faith, Nausia's sacrifice, and a young man's peace were all etched in my heart. This incident remains fresh in my mind. Whenever I remember it, my soul trembles. If this incident touched you, please share your opinion in the comments. What Rehan? Was justice done to him? Is such love and sacrifice still possible today? If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to hear more true silent stories. Allah Hafiz.